Hello! Well, today's subject is about the controversial subject. As you may have guessed, I'm a very controversial person. So, my discussion for today is, could I date a white guy? And the question is very difficult. So sometimes when I ask myself that question, I think to myself, will I be perceived as being hypocritical? If you looked at my I think I made it over a year ago on my experience of white gay men. From the white gay men I've spoken to, they've experienced this, like being touched inappropriately, pinched, or coming on strong to them. Black gay men doing exactly the same thing. And I see black men doing this to, black straight men doing it to white women. And I find that the straight and black gay men do this to white people because I think they know that they can get away with it, that they wouldn't get away with a black person, because I think they know that they would be smacked, or they'll be cursed out by the black person. So I think it's because they think they'll get away with it. Unless you're a very feisty white person, who'll say "fuck off, don't touch me," or you're not into black guys. So the question is, could I date a white guy? It seems that the white guys that I find attractive either are from Germany, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Sweden, European basically, or from the United States. Um, and the white guys who are based here, who I find handsome, generally are the ones that will stare and stare and stare and stare and stare and stare. And 99.9% don't say anything or just stare. And you got the other one who's courageous enough to say something. I do get ones at my gym that okay, but the ones that make passes at me, I just don't find them remotely attractive at all. So the question is, could I date a white guy? So, what kind of white guy would not work for me? What wouldn't, well, white men that wouldn't work for me are white gay men that are not comfortable around black people. You know, you may sound like odd, but that is the case. There are white people, be they gay or straight, who grew up in fishing villages in UK, Europe, and actually never met a black person until they moved to the cosmopolitan cities. So they've been made drunk on the image of us as black people of being aggressive, being drug dealers, being some people to be frightened of. Because I'm 6'4", and I've black friends who are 5'1", and when they walk towards white people, be they gay or straight, a white person has a look of fear on their face. And if you have never, even putting the black aside, if you've never been brought up around people of color, how are you going to feel comfortable with somebody who is a different race on you when you've never had a black friend, you don't know any black people, you've lived in an area where everybody looked like was white as like yourself? So how is that going to be? How are you going to form a successful, loving, respectful, equal relationship with somebody, and you're not used to being around black people? I remember many years ago, even though people consider him to be Latin, Pedro Zamora, who sadly died of AIDS in 1994, his then boyfriend, I've forgotten his boyfriend's name, when he was interviewed in Pause magazine, Pedro saying to him, "Oh, you're quite attractive for a black person." So even though there are black Cubans, um, if he heard how it came across, it made it sound like that black people, we are ugly people, and this is the first time he's found any of us attractive. That may not be the case, but if you have no level of awareness of being around black people, you will find it very difficult. That's why I get pissed off by people who say, "Oh, it's only the skin color." It is not. If you have never been around a black person in your entire life, and you don't, and even white people who live in London, all their friends are white, and it's the same for black people. And black people who live in London, all their friends are black, or Asian people, all their friends are Asian. Gay people, majority of their friends are gay. So it is very common. So it is not just different skin colors, it is when you are not used to it. But if you're, I had a colleague of mine, straight colleague of mine, he stopped dating white girls because anytime, because he was into R&B and dance music, so the clubs he went to were majority black. And when he went into these clubs, she'd be sinking her claws into his arm because she felt so uncomfortable being around so many blacks, being a minority around so many blacks. So if you, and I believe that there are white gay men who are like that, who do not feel comfortable being in an environment where that they are in a minority and the black people are in a majority. So it is not just about different races, it is about understanding that fact. If you go into a relationship with somebody who's a different race from you and say, oh, it's only skin color, then that will be the downfall of your relationship. Recognizing your differences is what will bring a relationship together. I mean, I'm British. My parents come from Nigeria. And I sometimes find it very difficult relating to gay men who were born and bred up in Africa, or born here, taken to Africa when they were children and came back as adults. I have difficulty with them sometimes because of the culture regarding homosexuality in Africa. So, what kind of gay man, white gay man, would I date? I'll date somebody who is intellectual, intelligent, articulate, who believes in absolute monogamy, who has no problems being around black people, being in an environment where in a whole room of like 50, they are either the only white person or one of 3 white people. That they can go into an environment where there's black people and don't feel fazed by it. By somebody that is not going after me because of some preconceived stereotype about the size of my penis. I want somebody who is a moderate drinker. I don't like clubs. If you ever see me in a club, it's because my friends here, or this another my friends there, and I want to help them, entertain them, or whatever. But I just find it really boring, and I hate stereotype white gay men. But when I've seen on the internet like Matinee and all those other clubs, they don't play music. They play sounds like ba 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 da, and I just find this music really. I don't call it music. I call it noise. So I wouldn't enjoy going to Matinee and one of those other clubs in Vauxhall or whatever if it's just that kind of music. It wouldn't interest me at all. I would like somebody my own age. I'm 40, gonna be 42, sorry, in April. The youngest I would date is somebody who's around in their late 20s. I don't want somebody bigger than me, so their waist can't be more than 40. I don't want somebody who's emaciated, is skinny. I like somebody who's working. I like somebody who embraces monogamy. I mentioned that before. A moderate drinker. Somebody who doesn't smoke. If you smoke, but I just don't like smoking. Somebody who is handsome. Somebody who's got great skin. I mean great skin when I mean not good skin, not somebody who looks haggard. What can I say? That is versatile. Somebody that has got a great sense of humor. I don't want any pushy guys. And I know this is going to say the weirdest thing. I just find it really makes me feel uncomfortable when I come across a white gay man who only dates black men. I think to myself, what's that all about? Aren't white men good enough for you? Because I know that what always fascinated me is when some white guys will say, "Oh, if you're just into black men, you're really limiting yourself. You know, what does it matter about race?" And then will turn around and say to me, "I prefer my men to be white. I mean, sorry, I prefer my men to be black. I only exclusively date black men." After telling me I'm limiting myself, or telling other black people they're limiting themselves for only being into blacks, I'll come across white guys who say, "If you're white, don't come near me. I don't do white. You must be black only." So, somebody in London or somebody in Europe, but preferably in London, who works, and somebody who is intelligent, articulate, has a big dick, and a bubble butt. I don't mind hairy, but not too hairy. So, are you out there?